Happy Friday, everybody. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving and had a nice fattening. Ate all the foods, did everything you had to do. And some of yous thought that we were going to do the Colin Trevorrow Duel of Fates thing. Well, I don't have anybody here today to do that with me. And I went through one of you guys sent me the actual comic book that somebody did based off of the Trevorrow treatment. And I read the whole thing. And I was going to do a full episode of the breakdown of that, and the overall story. But I sent it to Mike and Steph because I really want to talk it through to them. So I think I'm going to push that until next week when they're back because we got a little time before Boba Fett comes out. So I started looking around and saying, well, what can we talk about today? And there's a lot, man. There's the casting of Sabine Wren. I haven't really talked about it all. There is the images from Boba Fett that came out. An interview with Tamar Morrison about kind of what's going on with the character. Kathleen Kennedy signs on for 3 more years. Kathleen Kennedy talks about how it hints that perhaps some of the characters down the line of the new trilogy could pop up. Hayden Christensen. Some more news with the Ashoka series. There's some hints, and the biggest hint I think of all is a new novel coming out about Anakin and Obi-Wan in their days during the Clone Wars and all that stuff. So, and I thought that actually is very telling, and I'll talk about it a little bit more. But that's going to be the show. It's just going to be us talking through it today. So enjoy it. Let's get into it. It's Sith Council, everybody. Let's do it.
I can feel your anger. It gives you focus, makes you stronger.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Nice to see you on the Sith Council here. It is Friday, and we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about. I'm happy that we have a lot to talk about. I wasn't sure, and now I know. I don't know how long the episode could be. It could be 20 minutes, it could be 30 minutes, it could be an hour. It depends on how many stupid thoughts come into my head about the stuff that we're going to talk about today. Mike and Steph will be back next week. Talk about that Duel of Fates. I tell you guys, what I'll say is, and I'll give my early thoughts on it, why didn't they make that movie? Why didn't they make that movie? Oh. For the reason alone that it just tied everything together. We're going to go to kind of full spoiler on it. I think it's the easiest way for people, if you haven't read the full treatment, you look at this comic book this guy did. I'm going to post the link in the description of this video so you can check it out. And then we'll post it. Obviously, we're going to go through it at great lengths when Mike and Steph are back, because I couldn't stop reading it. And the imagery actually helped very much because you could visualize this guy, this artist, like he made a full comic. He's like, I think 5 issues out of the Trevorrow Duel of Fates treatment. And it was heartbreaking. It played so much better, and it wasn't, you never know what it's going to be like, how it's going to be executed on film itself, but the story to me was way more intriguing and made way more sense. And took some of the stuff that I didn't even necessarily like about Last Jedi, but at least said, okay, well, we're going to acknowledge what happened and then be able to play it into this, and then it'll move forward here. Finn has such a great arc in it. Plays back the Stormtrooper stuff, which is pretty much just kind of lost minus whatever it might be. Oh, a couple of us were Stormtroopers, and now we're Force sensitive. What? That's gone. There's like a full reason. Rose is not put on the back burner. She has something to do. Rey and Kylo, the way they work together, and the redemption stuff that I was worried about, there's still a redemption angle in it, but it's very different, and not this way at all. And it was funny the other day. I was talking to who? Myself in my head, but I was like, what would have been really, and I don't think I read the full treatment. I just heard so many different things about it. I knew the Coruscant stuff, and I knew all that. But I remember thinking, what would have been really cool as I was doing this the rewatch, if they would have done like a scene, like a Force Cave scene with like Kylo and Vader, brought Vader back to do that, And it's in that. It's in the treatment. It's in this comic book and the way that they do it. And they incorporate Mortis for those people who knew the Clone Wars episodes really well. There's a mention of Darth Plagueis inside of it. It's just like it was heartbreaking to read because I'm like, this would have been so much better. So much better. So much better. And again, I enjoy Rise of Skywalker, or watching it anyway, better than I do Last Jedi, but at least this makes sense. This makes sense of all of them together. I think it was just, and it does lend to the conversation that I guess we can just talk about up top, is that Kathleen Kennedy was hired again, re-signed for 3 more years, and people obviously losing their minds and saying, why, how come, she's messed everything up. She's messed up, and this is, some people disagree with me on this. I think she's messed up the film department in a certain aspect. People can argue with you and say, and I would be one of those people to argue with myself, that she's got a lot of wins. And I've said this many times over as far as the box office goes. And I've seen the comments. I don't want to hear about how, like, I saw this comment that and I'm not, I think it's a silly comment. I'm not saying the person or people who wrote it are silly, but the comment itself is silly, saying, well, she got Star Wars, so of course Star Wars is going to make a movie. That's like saying Phil Jackson doesn't get the props that he has because he had Jordan already. I never understood that, because a lot of other people had championship players before on many other teams, and they couldn't win championships. It's how you do it. It's how you put it together. I'm not saying you have to like the teams, but as long as you win championships, well, diminishing returns, it still made $1 billion. So as far as that goes, and I'm not telling you that I think that she should be running the film division. I think that she should run the film division the way she runs TV. That's what I think, because I think that she's doing that very well. And I think that if she just stuck that creative head in the film the way that she's doing it for TV, I think they would be saying, look what she did. And then you get people who would say the opposite. Well, now it's working because she put someone else in charge. But she's wearing too many hats. She's wearing too many hats. Am I one of these people who are saying, oh my God, Star Wars is ruined because she was hired for 3 more years? No, TV's working. And that's what I care about right now. TV is working. There's so much of it that's working. You sit down, it's still her. She makes the decisions. No, it's Filoni and Favereau. She hires them. So she's doing something right over there. And then other things, too. They're selling merchandising and the other things that they're doing. It's working. So I understand why she was hired again. It's not, but the thing is and this is speculation like anybody else. But when it comes to the film division itself, the reason I believe that she might be a little bit more like protecting it, right, and maybe not putting someone in that creative head, because it's always her ass on the line every single time, no matter what it is. It's her ass on the line. But with TV, the risk is, okay, well, all we need people to do is to sign up. We need people to sign up. People got to sign up to Disney Plus. That's what we need them to do. And so if they're signing up because of The Mandalorian, and then we can put like Andor on there, which not a lot of people are maybe excited for, but they're not going to go and we're not asking them to buy tickets. We're just asking them to subscribe, and maybe they love Andor. And they come in, maybe they're not necessarily subscribing for Andor, but they subscribed for Obi-Wan, and they stuck around for Andor. So our numbers are good, because I think that's a lot of things. You look, this microphone's killing me today. Microphone is killing me today. Stupid microphone. But if you look at certain things like movies, like there's certain movies, like look at Solo, for example. Solo, it was right after Last Jedi, so a lot of people, and it also came out a month after Infinity War, or weeks after Infinity War. So people are like, nah, I'm not spending my money on that. Not going to do it. If Solo, and not to say that they could have done this back then, because Disney Plus wasn't even a thing, but if Solo was a TV show, and they put Solo on, way more people would have watched it, because it comes with your subscription. So that's not what the win is about over on TV. So when it comes to the film side of it, it's every little decision is going to lead up to this movie that needs to make at least $500 to $600 million. And if we're lucky, we got to aim for that big one, the $1 billion. That's when Star Wars really works and really cooks. So everything starts to, that's the money piece. You got to get that thing done. You got to make that money on the big movie because that's the one that counts. That's the one. And like I said, whether you like the movies or not, whether you think that she had Star Wars or not, she's got a lot of wins under her belts as far as box office goes. So whether or not you go, yeah, but it's diminishing returns, it's not the way that Disney and everybody looks at it. Whether or not you think, well, they should, they don't. They look at it and they look down at as far as asking, like, how could she get hired? Because they look down at the box office and they say, okay, that one made $2 billion, that one made $1 billion, but it still made $1 billion. That one made $1 billion. That one made $1 billion. That one didn't do very well, but he said that, Uncle Bob said that he was partially responsible for that because he made you do it at that point. It's supposed to come out in December, but they pushed it in May. Maybe you shouldn't have done a solo movie, so we'll give you a pass. And then all these things, you look, okay, and plus TV, you understand. I understand why she was hired again. I get it. But the problem is, you also cannot turn away from the fact that this stuff keeps happening in the film division. I mean, from not as open, but there's rumors that JJ had an issue in the first movie. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. They had Michael Apted. He was gone from the script. They got rid of him pretty quick before JJ even came on. And then, JJ comes out, and then Rian Johnson, no problems. Okay. Gareth Edwards, we know, had problems. They replaced him with Tony Gilroy. Josh Trank, to get rid of him. Something happened with him. Lord and Miller. Everybody knows what happened there. Benioff and Weiss, gone. Trevorrow, gone. Patty Jenkins, gone. It's a problem. And it comes back to the fact of just like, well, this movie needs to be successful. You got to do it this way. You got to do it this way. This is what happened. This is what we did before. And if we did it this way, then we can make millions. And they're running it more like a business than creative. And it is a business. But you got to trust in the creative and the idea of it. And they're doing that with TV, but I don't think they're doing that with film. They're trying to get too... And I've heard this rumor before that she thinks certain things are too inside baseball. And she thinks that things are too... that the fans aren't going to respond to. Yeah, they'll respond to that on TV, but I don't know about film. I think that's a major error. Get someone... It doesn't have to be Favereau and Filoni. It'd be great if it was, but someone like that who understands that the homages to the things that made Star Wars special. So do I mind that she was hired for another 3 years or stayed on for another 3 years? I don't. But it's going to be an issue for movies. And that's also another thing, to be fair. You guys have heard me many times over. I don't care if I see a Star Wars movie for a long time. I really don't. I got TV shows. I got development of my favorite stuff. I used to just Knights of the Old Republic, and I'm playing it again on Nintendo Switch. Just following the story and the amount of development on each character and each place, and spending so much time in that world. That's what I get with TV now. I spend time. I saw some guys like, Mando could have been a movie. There's a lot of filler. I don't think so. There's some, but overall, so much development overall. Loved it, and that's the whatever, the 6 or 7 hours of Obi-Wan, 7-hour movie. That's a 7-hour movie. And I get to digest it that way, watch it over. Andor. I wouldn't give a crap about an Andor film. I'm kind of excited about the Andor series because I want to see how they set up each side. How they're going to set up, the Empire side of it, the Rebellion side of it. Maybe some stuff inside of it that I really like. And I wouldn't care about an Andor movie. Like, why? We know what happens in Rogue One. You didn't have enough time. So the movies, for me, and I'm not saying that Star Wars shouldn't be seen on the big screen. Of course it should. It's a spectacle. Same way that I understand that everyone was like, well, Dune should be seen on the big screen. I get it. But and Dune, I actually think Dune 1 and 2, I'd much prefer that particular story be told on on the big screen in movie theater. There's certain stories in Star Wars that I just don't. But I will say, if it's Old Republic and or High Republic that's setting up a trilogy that leads into a series, that'd be great. I just don't need it tomorrow. I'm probably not going to get a movie for another 3 years. Something like that. So she'll either be re-upping or developing the movie that comes out. It's not going to be another movie in Star Wars that comes out anyway until 2024, 2025 maybe. So really, all she's doing in this part of her tenure is developing that film, because it ain't going to go. You're not going to. It ain't going to see the light of day anytime soon. At least, unless they announce something at Celebration that Feige's movie or Taika Waititi's movie is moving, and you're going to see that in 2 years. I think that's a mistake. Unless they've already been highly developing it and it's ready to go. This 2-year rush plan also not working. I think it's one of the main reasons that the JJ thing seems so rushed. What the hell do I know? I'm in my garage. So who the hell listens to me? I listen to myself sometimes, like when I say I'm hungry. And then my other part of my head says, well, you should eat something. And then I eat something. So someone's listening to me. Otherwise, I'd be dead because I wouldn't be eating. All right, moving on. Okay, there's a lot of stuff. Part of this stuff is this Boba Fett. Boba Fett. Talk about a movie I didn't give a crap about. And I like Josh Trank. I didn't care about no stupid Boba Fett movie. I didn't care if they said, oh, Yoda's going to get a movie, Han Solo's getting a movie, Boba Fett's going to Who cares about Boba Fett? And then Mandalorian comes along. They reintroduce Boba. And they say he's getting a TV show. And I said, sign me up. This looks like Sopranos. This looks like the gangster series that I've always never wanted. But now I do. And then, man, Empire Magazine and Star Wars Newsnet crushing it with this coverage. Check out our buddies over at Star Wars Newsnet. They have like a whole revamp to their site. It's beautiful. John Hoey's over there. Miguel Fernandez. I mean, fantastic stuff that they're doing over there at Star Wars Newsnet. Always have been. So Empire Magazine, who wrote this one? This is Miguel Fernandez. He writes like a lot of stuff. He's really good, that guy. I like that Miguel Fernandez. Empire Magazine released the cover for the January 2022 issue, which is going to be focused on the Book of Boba. The article teased that the new issue would feature interviews with several people involved with the show. Today, they revealed snippets of that interview with executive producers Favereau and Robert Rodriguez. Of course, post-credit scenes of The Mandalorian Season 2 is effectively a teaser trailer for the spin-off show, as it gave us the basic idea of the plot. Boba Fett's back. He's taken over Jabba's throne, and he's basically the new crime lord. Now, this is what Favereau told Empire, that there's a power vacuum because Jabba is gone. Jabba was clearly a very strong and imposing leader who people were very scared of and who seemed to rule with an iron fist. And you pull somebody like that out of the ecosystem of Tatooine and Hutt space in general, and you have the opportunity that's ripe in the gangster genre. That alone. Favreau's having fun with this, isn't he? He then added, although Boba Fett is a very experienced bounty hunter, he's not experienced at running a criminal syndicate or managing forces. He's not normally a newcomer. He's an expert as we see him in most areas, but in this case, he's trying to transition to another position. Favreau's clearly teasing that we're going to get an unhinged Boba Fett, but Robert Rodriguez goes even further. We'll see a lot more of his true character in this season, and you'll definitely see him have to turn barbarian mode. Love that. So, I mean, if you look at that picture up top of Rodriguez, that's him going over that hit that Boba Fett does with the big axe in the trailer. So there are more bits on Boba Fett expected to come in the next following days, maybe even today, including interviews with Tamar Morrison. This is an older one, so there was, and Filoni talking about Ahsoka, as Empire teased last week. Okay, so let's move away from Boba, or not. Let's move away from these pictures for a moment and talk about this thing, because I thought it was Tamar Morrison who gave the quote. So apologies, it was Favereau. And you listen to this. This is something Favreau's wanted to do. Favreau's wanted to tell a Boba Fett story, and now he gets to tell. And this goes back to the conversation that opened the show. He's not rushed. He's not doing a 2-hour movie of this. Boba Fett is a gangster. 2-hour movie. It's over. He has to do this. You're getting 6 hours of this thing, or more. I don't remember what it is. I thought it was 6 episodes. Could be more. Could be 9. Let's say it's a 9-hour or 45-minute episodes, whatever the hell it is. It's going to be so much development inside of this, and learning new things, and having a chance for some fun moments that play. And I find myself now really looking forward to this Boba Fett series, more so than I ever did beforehand. And if you would have told me in right after Mandalorian came out that you're only going to get 2 seasons back to back of Mandalorian, and then they're going to do a Boba Fett series, I'm like, why? And now I wouldn't say that. because I saw exactly the way that they played it. Now he's a character in season 2 of The Mandalorian. You're following him in. It was a great tease, and he's going back to try to take over. He doesn't want to be, and I love the unhinged thing. Like he's like this Jabba knew how to rule. It's like, you know, an old gangster that just knew how to rule on the throne, and he got whacked. And now one of the foot soldiers is going to take over and try to run the whole thing. This guy's been earning his stripes for years in the underworld. How's he going to do it? How's it going to pay off? Who's going to turn on him? What kind of twists and turns are we going to see? What kind of pure violence? Robert Rodriguez and Favereau doing this thing, I don't know about a lot of kiddie moments in this one. There's nothing wrong with that. We got a lot of that stuff. And even I'm just watching Hawkeye recently, and Hawkeye's got a lot of good family moments in it. I don't know if you can get a lot of family moments in Boba Fett. It seems like there's a lot. I mean, I'm sure they're going to introduce some kind of humor character, but Boba ain't cracking jokes, nor should he. And even Fennec Shand, she's not cracking jokes either. They're probably going to introduce somebody like, you know, what they did with Horatio Sands to go in there and do a couple jokes here and there. But for the most part, this thing looks solid. A lot of stuff going on. Man, I'm digging it. You know what else I'm digging? Oh, yeah. MeUndies, ladies and gentlemen. You guys heard me talk about MeUndies forever, as I should. It's amazing. Really, really great. So the holidays are almost upon us, and it's time to really lean in. We're talking hugs. We're talking secret family recipes. We're talking about seeing the looks on your loved ones' faces as they unwrap their matching PJ sets at the same time. And this year, MeUndies wants to help you bring comfortable home for the holidays. This is your sign to surround your family and friends with comfort. And while you're at it, why not get a little something for yourself? You should. I'm wearing them right now. Got the fire. These fire underwear. Nothing's burning. It's just good. And I also got the pizza ones. Got the Star Wars ones. Comfortable. Really comfortable. For you guys, what's your favorite thing to cuddle up during a cozy season? Is it do you wear a onesie? You got some lounge wear? You got PJs? What are you doing? Well, with new classic plaid and holiday sweater prints, MeUndies is going to turn up the comfort this holiday season. Their undies, loungewear, sleepwear, they're made out of soft, breathable, stretchy fabrics that are ideal for getting cozy by the fire with a cup of hot cocoa. Make the whole family smile with matching PJ sets, or spoil your partner with plush robes and slippers. Whatever you decide, everyone will be rolling into the new year comfier than before. They're available in sizes extra small through 4 extra large. MeUndies has a little something for everyone on your list. If you're looking for more inspiration, check out their holiday gift guide for all things cozy and comfy. So MeUndies has a great offer for my listeners. For any first-time purchasers, you're going to get 15% off and free shipping right to your door. Your days of fighting for your life in the mall parking lot, they're over. Get 15% off your first order, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee. Head on over to MeUndies.com/Sith. That is MeUndies.com/Sith. Love MeUndies. I do. Yeah, you know that. Talking about those since the Schmoes No Days. All right, I'm just going to pick the next story. Oh, this one. All right, I'm going to go to this one. So, Anakin and Obi-Wan. I was going through these news stories, the stuff that I wanted to get into. And I noticed there's a novel coming out. There's a novel coming out about Obi-Wan and Anakin. It's called Brotherhood. So again, Star Wars Newsnet, Miguel Fernandez. Gotta pay this guy extra. Del Rey has revealed the final cover for Brotherhood. It's by Laura Rosero, one of the most anticipated Star Wars books for next year. It's going to be Mike Chen's first book in a galaxy far, far away. Oh, excuse me, the art is by Laura Rosero. This is Mike Chen. And will follow Obi-Wan and Anakin during the Clone Wars. And this is what Chen told StarWars.com. Brotherhood opens with both Anakin and Obi-Wan recently promoted to Jedi Knight and Jedi Council, yet feeling a bit uncertain about how to go about it. While the war accelerates things so quickly that the Jedi charge into battle without a chance to really go, Why are we doing this? Who are these clones? For our two heroes, they're balancing their feelings on this while trying to live life without being tethered to one another, and the story examines how both of them realize that not only do they need each other, they're better Jedi and people when they're connected. I mean, this is... We'll talk about this in a second. The Clone Wars, according to StarWars.com, the landscape that is seen behind Kenobi and Anakin are those of Cato Nemodia, which is a key place in the events of the book. Here's the official synopsis. The Clone Wars have begun. Battle lines are being drawn throughout the galaxy. With every world that joins the Separatists, the peace guarded by the Jedi Order is slipping through their fingers. After an explosion devastates Cato Nemodia, the jewel of the Trade Jet Federation, the Republic is blamed and the fragile neutrality of the planet is threatened. The Jedi dispatch Obi-Wan Kenobi, one of the Order's most gifted diplomatic minds, to investigate the crime and maintain the balance that has begun to dangerously shift. As Obi-Wan investigates, with the help of heroic Nemodian guard, he finds himself working against the Separatists who hope to draw their planet into their conspiracy, and senses the sinister hand of Asajj Ventress in the mists that cloak the planet. Amid the brewing chaos, Anakin Skywalker rises to the rank of Jedi Knight. Despite the mandate that Obi-Wan travel alone and his former master's insistence that he listen this time, Anakin's headstrong determination means nothing can stop him from crashing the party and bringing along a promising but conflicted youngling. Once a Padawan to Obi-Wan, Anakin now finds himself on equal but uncertain footing with the man who raised him. The lingering friction between them increases the danger for everyone around them. The two mites must learn a new way to work together, and they must learn quickly to save Cato Nemodia and its people from the fires of war. To overcome the threat they face, they must grow beyond master and apprentice. They must stand together as brothers. All right, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. And there's no coincidence of why a book like this is coming out. At the moment, there's always collaboration with the story team and certain things about what's working, what's coming up, and why it pairs together. And obviously, with the stuff with Hayden Christensen is coming back. And in order to have him back, they probably have this whole thing planned out. So I was thinking that basically I think what's going to happen with Anakin and Obi-Wan is there's going to be this kind of flashback stuff that is going to happen throughout the show. I think that what happens in Obi-Wan, it'll be kind of a flashback show. And I think that this is the type of stuff that they could maybe throw back to, and certain things that certain things that are going to lead up and that play. And I think that certainly could happen inside of this. The bigger story here for me is why a book like this is coming out at the moment. I think it's obvious. It's obvious that that's going to happen to me. All right. Moving on to the next story here. And that would be massive casting. Sabine Wren. We finally find out who Sabine Wren is going to be. And this news, what stinks is that I was going to do a whole report on this the other day. And what happened was, I was in the middle of trying to do it, and all this stuff started popping up, and I didn't get a chance to talk about it yet. So I figured, why not talk about it here? And let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So Ahsoka, the series, we knew that it was going to take place. It kind of takes place in between that Rebels thing that we said, the end of Rebels, and then what we saw in Mandalorian Season 2. So this is by Grant Davis at Star Wars Newsnet. Ahsoka has found its Sabine Wren in Natasha Liu Bordizzo, who will be the co-lead of the Disney Plus limited series opposite to Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka Tano. Sabine was first portrayed by voice actress Tia Sakar. Deadline has confirmed that Bordizzo has been selected to portray Wren, a young, tech-savvy Mandalorian with a flair for the artistic. She's going to be making her live-action debut in Ahsoka, a live-action limited series that will be showrun by Dave Filoni and executive produced by Filoni and Favereau. Pre-production on the series is already underway, with Deadline indicating that production will officially begin in March 22 with a release in 2023 most likely. Aside from Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano and Natasha Liu Bordizzo as Sabine Wren, Hayden Christensen is said to be appearing as Anakin Skywalker as part of the show's cast. Sabine Wren was introduced as one of the lead characters in the animated series Star Wars Rebels, where she fought alongside the young Jedi in training Ezra Bridger, who we'll find out. There's also been rumors on who Ezra will be. Aladdin, anybody? Over the course of the series, her narrative and her goal to help reunite with her family and save her home planet of Mandalore from the Empire became increasingly prominent in the second half of the animated series. The forthcoming Ahsoka limited series had something of a pilot episode in the form of the Mandalorian episode Chapter 13, The Jedi, which is canonically set before the events of the epilogue sequence in Rebels. In that episode, Ahsoka Tano enlisted the help of series protagonist Din Djarin to liberate the city of Caladan on the planet Corvus, which was held hostage by Morgan Elsbeth. Ahsoka dueled and bested Morgan and interrogated her for the location of her instructor, Grand Admiral Thrawn, the Imperial, who Ezra was last seen taking with him into parts unknown. Given that Thrawn is most likely still alive, it can be presumed that Ezra will be in as well, and that Ahsoka and Sabine's search for the character will make up a significant portion of the show's story. Hopefully, we're going to find out who's playing those two in the coming weeks. In the meantime, it can be presumed that Ahsoka will be picking up right where Rebels left off as Ahsoka and Sabine team up. All right. Lots there. So we know nothing about this girl, which I love. I love the fact that we're getting an unknown. I think that helps. And I think that with Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, you don't need anybody else. I mean, and where you have, and I can't remember the kid's name, and we had a chance to interview him too, who played Aladdin in the live action Aladdin. So if he ultimately turns out to be Ezra, which I think is a great casting, I think he's a great actor too. I like that cast. Thrawn is also rumored to be Lars Mikkelsen, who played him in Rebels. Love that casting. Again, rumored, not confirmed. So if all that goes down, the Ahsoka series, which everyone kind of thought, there's more, and we're going to get into this in a second. Ahsoka coming out in 2023 makes a lot of sense, because of where you rumored, where we're rumored to move on to these other shows, right? You got Obi-Wan, which could come anywhere between February and like April, maybe even May, because Boba Fett's going to end in probably February. So most likely you're going to get around a 2-month break, maybe even 3. So that puts us into April and May for Obi-Wan. And then there's rumors that Andor now is, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, is not coming out until like August, September, which matches up. And then Mandalorian Season 3. You're either going to get that at the tail end of December or January of 2023. So the 3 shows you're probably going to get in January of 2023 are Ahsoka, Acolyte, and Mandalorian, if it kind of ties in, with a potential that you could have 4. I mean, but I would say that those are probably the ones. It all makes sense. And I mean, that was the other story we were going to talk about, was Andor getting pushed back. And Kathleen Kennedy had an interview about that and said that I think that wasn't that wasn't where the information came from. I think it was a stockholder thing. They mentioned that. Let me see. I'll just go back and find that particular story. But Andor being pushed. So all this makes sense. And the idea of Rebels, by the way, the idea that Rebels is going to pretty much, this is going to be the next season of Rebels. It's just live action. And I'm all for that. I think it's great. Do I think it loses people? Not necessarily, because of what we just said, that you establish it enough, and if you watch Mandalorian Season 2, then you get it. And carrying over to this Ahsoka thing, might as well just stay here with Ahsoka. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. There it is. Filoni was, I guess they had taken some bits from the Empire magazine stuff, and they released some of it. And so it was probably Miguel Fernandez. More Star Wars bits are emerging from the latest episode of Empire magazine, whose January edition will focus on the Book of Boba Fett. Covers were revealed, and then the first string of interviews with the producers came out. So here is a snippet of Filoni talking about Ahsoka, And in the interview, this is what he said of the scripting process. It's thrilling, I got to tell you. It's something that you imagine doing for a long time, and then it's kind of startling when you're sitting there, and now you have to do it. And then he added, I thought of this adventure for Ahsoka for a long time, and it's interesting to see how it's evolved. Years ago, I would have never imagined that it was sprung from a branch of a tree that had anything to do with a guy like Din Djarin or a child that looks like Yoda. It's a great lesson for me on how, when you have other creators like Jon Favreau that can help lend such dimension and depth to what you're doing. According to Empire, Filoni is currently writing the series, which is interesting. Since last December, Favereau told Good Morning America the same thing. However, with the casting of some of the main characters already locked down, including Sabine Wren, who will be played in live action by actress Natasha Liu Bordizzo, it's possible that they are finalizing the scripts. The principal photography is reportedly scheduled to begin in 2022, around the same time that Mandalorian Season 3 will wrap. Hayden Christensen is also coming back to the series to play Anakin Skywalker. Again, so much here. So much here. Anakin. Now, how the hell can Anakin be back if he's not a Force ghost or flashbacks? It's the only way. I mean, because Vader's dead. You put him in the suit, and he's running around in the suit. Unless they do a flashback scene, even then, when you see him fight. But why would you waste Hayden that way? So you're probably going to have two things. One, if they flash back this way, they should flash back in Obi-Wan the same, because then work with that deep fake technology that you got, with the de-aging or whatever, and do that. Have some flashback scenes, but also Force Ghost. Why not? We know that he comes back as a Force Ghost. We saw him do it. So let's utilize him. It's another thing with that cut of the Rise of Skywalker when people put the Force Ghosts in there, and he was in there. It just worked. I mean, he's talking to Rey. I mean, all these ghosts are talking to her. Show them. You know that they're there. You can hear them. And we know that they turn blue. Turn them blue. But Ahsoka, it's coming out. It's a series I'm pretty excited for. I loved Rebels. So for me as a Rebels fan, to see where that goes and to see it continue on, I think that's going to get a lot of people rewatching Rebels the same way that like Sopranos, people started rewatching Sopranos when Many Saints came out. I think that the hardcore Star Wars fans, not everybody loves animation, but I do. And I think that there'll be a lot of people who are going to be interested. I never really knew about Rebels. I want to see this Ahsoka series, though. Well, you should definitely watch Rebels, though. If you haven't watched Rebels and you're looking forward to the Ahsoka series, you should, or you want to learn more about Ahsoka in general. It's a series that you should check out. All right. So what else did we miss here? Because there was that other. So here's the other report about. Let's see where is it at? Kathleen Kennedy. Where was the interview though? She was talking about. I gotta find it. Where the hell it is? Here it is. Oh no. She was talking about the new trilogy characters. I don't know where that is. Can't find the damn thing. But there was rumors that not rumors. Someone asked her a question about whether or not we were going to see any if we're going to see any of the characters appear, and she said don't count it out or something along those lines. And I don't know. I think that's the type of stuff that she does that I don't think is productive. I don't get it. That's where the story came in. Here it is. She started talking about Obi-Wan and Anakin, which the quotes here. The quotes there it is. The quotes for that story, I think, was that the two of them are very excited to be together. Kathleen Kennedy talks Obi-Wan reunion and the future of the sequel trilogy heroes. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that, everybody. Knew I had something. So the two of them, Obi-Wan and Anakin, we know they're getting reunited. People are excited about it, and Kathleen Kennedy was asked about it. The next year promises to be one of the biggest ever for Star Wars, and this week's Empire looks to shed a little light on some of Lucasfilm's most anticipated series. In a short preview release this morning, Kathleen Kennedy touches on Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen's emotional reunion on the set of Obi-Wan Kenobi and teases a possible future return for the heroes of the sequel trilogy. Now, this first part was Obi-Wan, and what she said is, in regards to Anakin or Christensen and Ewan, they hadn't seen each other in a long time. I was surprised at how incredibly emotional it was for each of them to find themselves back in these roles. What, you don't think? And just realizing how important Star Wars was to each of them. It was the beginning of their careers. Well, yeah, of course. They're going to be super emotional. These guys got along really well, and it makes a lot of sense. Anakin and Obi-Wan wasn't the only reunion Kennedy touched on as she briefly turned her sights to the future and the young heroes of the sequel trilogy. While she did not confirm any specific projects in development, she did say the characters have not been forgotten when it comes to future stories. Certainly, those are not characters we're going to forget. They will live on, and those are conversations that are going on with the creative team as well. I mean, this is just a brief snippet of the full interview featuring 2 incredible Boba Fett covers. The new issue of Empire promises to bring us the latest updates on the Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and more when it goes on sale this Thursday. All right, so Thanksgiving, we're going to get a lot of information. There'll be a lot of stuff. There's nothing here, really. I mean, obviously, Anakin and Obi-Wan or Hayden and Ewan were emotional when they saw each other. It shouldn't surprise anybody. They got along really well. It was a big moment in both their lives, and now they get a chance to return. And Ewan even said it in that report. I was just excited because I get to work with Hayden again. That's the first thing he said. We haven't heard anything from Hayden. They shouldn't. Just keep Hayden quiet, and because it's people are excited now. That was such a good switch on what happened to him. I'm so happy on what happened to him. He was, everybody was kind of against him, and when you look at what the poor guy had to work with, and as far as no one's accusing George Lucas of being able to work well with actors, right? And he had to suffer from it, especially with the green screen stuff. They didn't have the void, they didn't have all these things, and like this switch happened that the fans, when they were like, they would go after Hayden and say how wooden he was, and like then he starts showing up to conventions and they're cheering him like he's a returning hero. And now everyone was, when they announced that he was coming back, it wasn't like people were going, oh, this is terrible. People were excited that he's coming back. It links it all together. It's a good move. So that part of it, yeah, of course, it's going to be emotional for them. It's going to be emotional for us when we watch it. And they can really use that for the emotion that's going to play between, Obi-Wan and Anakin. Now, the second part of it, after reading the quote itself, she didn't really say anything that she's committing to anything. She just basically said that there were conversations going on with the creative team. I mean, you could say that about anything. Hey, you doing an Old Republic? We're having conversations with the creative team about it. Are you doing something with a Jar Jar movie? Creative team's talking about it. So you can say that about anything. That's a classic. Creative team's talked about it. Creative team talks about it. We talked about Darth Bane. We talked about Darth Plagueis. Doesn't mean you didn't talk about it and then stop talking about it really fast. So it's a good way to answer it if someone says, I don't think she is hinting at anything in general. But she's going to say, as she should. She should say that about any character in Star Wars. We're not going to forget about those characters, as opposed to that one character, terrible. Fans hated it. We're never going to do it ever again. They're never going to say that. That's not how she does. She's very political in the way that she, or I shouldn't say political. I should say very structured in the way that she gives her responses. That's why I think a lot of times it doesn't. There's a thing that you don't. It plays very executive. And she is an executive, but it plays that way. So I think a lot of times when she says certain announcements, it's like it's not, and it's hard to get excited about certain things because things keep falling apart. So if she was to announce, yep, talking to Boyega, got a show coming up, or that one actually you probably get more excited about because it might happen. Movie coming out, Boyega, and we got Tarantino involved. Okay, but when's it gonna get canceled? When are they gonna change it up? When are they gonna decide that the new writers coming in and then it gets postponed? Because if the Taika Waititi and Feige movies, if those don't happen, or somebody leaves the project, I mean that's really bad PR because those guys are just so beloved at the moment. But there's nothing with these comments that I think that is anything wrong that she said. She didn't say initially I thought she kind of committed that they were doing something, but she didn't. She just said we're talking about it. So that's what an executive should say at this point. Yeah, we're talking about it. So I don't know. And the last thing I think that we'll talk about before we get out of here, and you guys can go eat your leftover turkeys and whatnot, is the Andor story. And where the hell is it? We talked about Boba Fett. We talked about Ahsoka and Obi-Wan and all that stuff. Where is it? Andor got moved. I know that Andor got moved, but they told the investors that it got moved, and it's the bottom line is that it got moved until, what was it, 2000 and the next year, but it's like August or September. And the question as far as why I've really finished shooting, I just think it's that you give that block, right? And you also, the other question that people keep asking is, will Star Wars and Marvel have shows streaming at the same time? And I don't mean obviously they're always streaming at the same time. You can watch Mandalorian and Loki now, but currently, like week to week, are they going to have that? Because I think that they're both taking over that Wednesday spot, because I know Boba Fett's taking over Wednesday. And by the way, this show is going to be moved to Wednesday once, maybe even earlier than when Boba Fett comes out. We're going to start moving to Wednesdays to get you guys used to it. So big thing will be Monday, Thursday, Friday with Sith Council on Wednesday. So you guys know. But it's because those shows will start moving out on Wednesday. I want to be able to cover those, but I don't know. I wonder if like Obi-Wan and like because Marvel has so many shows, right? They got She-Hulk and Moon Knight and Miss Marvel, and they have all these things. At one point, will they have a Star Wars show and a Marvel show at the same time, or will they use those 2-month intervals to pace those out? I wonder. Or will it be, hey, you Marvel fan, you Star Wars fan, sign up, mother F, get it done. All right, let's see. Anything else that we need to talk about on the show today? Ludwig Göransson, he scored a Grammy nomination for the Mandalorian Season 2 soundtrack. Makes sense. I don't think there's anything else, guys. I think that's it. I think that we have our show here for today, and I'm pretty excited about it. I think it was a good show. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about today. A lot to talk about. Have I missed? Oh, there's the Andor. Let me see if I missed anything on Andor before we jump back. This is what they say. Rogue One conference call. Disney chief financial officer has confirmed that Andor is going to be arriving about a year from now in the fourth fiscal quarter of 2022. That should roughly translate to a premiere at some point in the second half of July, any point in August, any point in September, or the first half of October. It's also worth noting that the Marvel series Miss Marvel will be airing in that same quarter. So if it ends up being the case, it seems like all 6 episodes of that will have to air before the 12 episodes of Andor get their start. Okay, so it looks like they're not going to crossover. While Andor was the second live-action Star Wars show to start filming, it seems highly likely at this point that it will be the 4th to air. Mandalorian's first 2 seasons will be followed by the Book of Boba Fett and most likely Obi-Wan Kenobi. In terms of timing, it seems likely that the 3rd season of The Mandalorian could begin shortly after the first season of Rogue One. The first season of the Rogue One prequel once it wraps up, which would point to Andor possibly airing in the middle of that range. In terms of releases, it seems possible that there will be a live-action Star Wars show for each part of the year, with the Book of Boba Fett covering the first month of 2022, which is what we thought, followed by Obi-Wan in the second 3 months, which is what we thought, Andor in the third, The Mandalorian in the fourth 3 months. I don't know about that. I mean, Star Wars Newsnet probably knows better than me, and then the second season of Bad Batch most likely running concurrently with some of the shows in the gaps. Lucasfilm's slate of Disney Plus shows, some of their content includes new seasons of The Mandalorian, Bad Batch, premiere Book of Boba Fett later this year, and a gauntlet of new shows like Obi-Wan, Andor, Ahsoka, The Acolyte, Lando, is that happening? And Rangers of the New Republic. Both of those shows aren't going to happen, not anytime soon. Alongside with the animated feature, A Droid Story. That's not all either, as there are reportedly an abundance of new projects that will be announced on Disney Plus Day. Well, that didn't happen. It's an older article, I guess. That certainly didn't happen about new projects. No projects were announced. It was flying fart in an elevator is what that Disney Plus Day, as far as Star Wars news went. And then the D23 thing, whatever that little mini D23, nobody's heard or peep out of that thing. So most people are right. I think they're focusing on Boba Fett. You won't hear anything about Obi-Wan until the beginning of the year. Might get a trailer if they're right and Obi-Wan is February, March. Then you'll have to get a trailer. Excuse me, for Obi-Wan soon. Because some people are thinking that you're going to get Obi-Wan trailer at Celebration, but Celebration ain't until May. So, or April. I don't know. One of those two. People keep telling me. I forget when it is. I think it's May. Who knows? All right. Look, enjoy your turkey. Get some rest. Have a great weekend. You got to go back to work on Monday, so don't hurt yourself. All right. You guys, don't fall down. Make sure you take care of yourselves and eat all your pumpkin pie and then jog on a treadmill. All right. Thank you, guys. You guys rule. Peace.
I can feel your anger. It gives you focus, makes you stronger.